Warning, this video may contain previously revealed information that may spoil certain elements of the event. If you wish to go in completely blind, turn back now.
It is one of the strangest tales ever told. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you.
Welcome to the Dark Fantastic!
I'm not a monster, Jake.
I'll show you who I am and what I am.
Yeah, you love this one. It's a scream, baby.
It's showtime.
I am your mother.
Time to float.
I feel like she's not a mistake at all. Like she's better for being different.
Gender fluid.
No matter what, you keep finding something to fight for.
Hey, Michael!
What's your favorite scary movie?
You want stars? I'll give you stars.
So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such a strain, now is your chance to, well, we've warned you.
Hello, spooky friends. My name is Kelly Hoffman. I am a co-host here at Theme Park Workshop, and I'm here to talk to you about my HHN 34 hype list. First of all, overall thoughts. Just a little background, have been going consistently to HHN since 2015, so I've gone every year since then. I did go in 2012 as a one-off, loved it, and then just didn't make it back for a few years. But I've been going to haunts since I was about 12 years old. I have loved spooky things for as long as I can remember, like Halloween Town, Nightmare Before Christmas, Haunted Mansion, all those things. I love HHN. It's my favorite event. It's the best time of year, in my opinion. My favorite year so far is HHN 28, so that's 2018. I think that the houses and zones were the strongest that year, or at least I think the zones were some of the best they've ever done, and I think several of the houses were all-time favorites of mine personally. So that year is the year to beat, and I think this year could genuinely do it. The theming is just on point, the really like gothic theming. I haven't been sold necessarily on a lot of the merch yet with that theming, but I think it is really, really fun and classic, you know, spooky vibes, Halloween. So I love it. HHN 31 had the best merch, the Everyday's Halloween merch. So I don't know that we're ever beating that. I do like the gothic theming that's going to be throughout the event. I think that's really cool. I think they're offering some really awesome and unique experiences that they've never done before. And I really hope they're as incredible as they sound. I think the Coconut Club this year sounds interesting. I'm not sold on the theme yet. It's like a coven, sounds like a witch sorority or fraternity, essentially. So witches in Greek life. So, you know, there's a coconut club. There's a dead coconut club. That's all I really need. Overall, this year sounds incredibly strong, and it's been one of the hardest years to rank ever for me. So I don't know if you're excited. I'm very excited. I think it's going to be an all-timer. All right, so the moment you've all been waiting for, the houses. Let's start at 10. My number 10 is a property that I just don't have a strong enough connection to, and that's Jason Universe. I think it's going to be scary. I believe them on that. Do I think it's going to be 10 times scarier than Insidious? No, but I'm willing to be proven wrong. I actually didn't have any super scary experiences. I mean, maybe one, but I didn't get as scared in Insidious as a lot of people did. So maybe this will be scarier for me, but you know, I enjoyed watching some of the movies recently with my friends. I have not seen all of them. Hopefully I'll get there by the end of the run, but Jason as a character is not particularly scary to me. But if some big tall guy is coming at me, I may get scared. I can agree with that. But as a whole, like, Jason is not something that I find to be particularly frightening. Like, I didn't really get very scared watching the movies. And just from what I've heard about the house, I'm like, I mean, don't get me wrong, the ending, the way they're gonna do it sounds scary, but I don't know. It sounds all right. I think it's gonna be good, but that is not my classic horror icon of choice. So my number 9 is an original, which I don't like to put originals too low, but this one, I don't know. It's a mix of things. So my number 9 is Grave of Flesh, and there's kind of 2 reasons why I put it as low as I did. I think it's gonna be really good, so I'm excited for that. But one reason is because honestly, I don't know enough about it. I mean, they've talked about, you know, the whole like you're going underground, you're dead, all this stuff. Okay, but it's not necessarily something that intrigues me based on the character design we've seen and like the concept. I wouldn't say I'm claustrophobic, but I don't like feeling like I can't escape from something. I can do it in a house for a few minutes, but I do think that feeling of like being like buried alive or however they're gonna do that is creepy. So I think it has a chance to be really scary. We've kind of seen inconsistent creature designs for it, so it's hard to know exactly what we're gonna see in the house. But it's just not, I'm just not as hyped for it as I am for these other things because this is an incredible year for houses. I'm also like not a huge fan of the houses generally that are like, I'm gonna eat ya, is the way I say it. And my husband laughs at like the way I do that. But I'm like, the best way I can describe that is the Spirit of the Coven. Is that what it was called? House that I did one time that year because I only went once that year, as I said. And I don't know, I liked the first half a lot where it was like a speakeasy. I was like, this is so cool. And then it dove into, I'm gonna eat you. And every person's like, you look delicious. And I'm like, okay. Now, Goblins was my favorite house last year, so you got me there, okay? They can do it in a way that I'll enjoy it. My number 8 is Fallout. So I've never played the games. Obviously, it's based on the show. So, you know, not necessary to have played the games, but I don't have a huge connection to the property. I think the show is great. I actually really enjoyed it. I'm rewatching it and I'm having fun with that. I struggle to think of it as a house. I think it would be really cool for something like a fan fest sort of experience where you're walking through and it's really immersive, but it's not scary. I am absolutely willing to be proven wrong, but I kind of see it being more that way, where it's not going to be a super scary house, but it'll be very scenic and atmospheric. And that's great, and I could still love it. I love plenty of houses that are not particularly scary, but I'm just not sure what direction they're gonna go with it, and I'm not sure that I'm sold yet. So I think there were scarier creatures in the games than they have thus far had in the show. So I kind of wish they did it on the games, even though I've never played them, just based on what I've heard about them. But I think the property is really fun for Halloween Horror Nights, and I'm not opposed to it. My number 7, I feel like I should run and hide somewhere. I have a friend who this is probably their number 1. This is like their favorite property of all time, so I am so sorry. My number 7 is Terrifier, and here's why. I both don't believe them and I do believe them that this is going to be like the most disgusting, awful, terrifying house of all time. I did watch Midsummer Scream. I'm not going to give away anything because they went over a lot of the different scenes in the house. I won't tell you that just in case you're not interested in that sort of thing, but it's obviously going to be gross. I'm probably most scared of that bathroom scene because I think it's going to be disgusting, and I'm not ready for that. But I don't love getting wet at theme parks. So the fact that the like water effects are going to be turned from the normal like 10 to 20% to 100%, that's concerning to me. I don't want to be like drenched and dripping wet. Some people do. Some people are like, bring on the wet path, because if you don't know, there's a dry path and a wet path at the end. You don't really get a choice the rest of the house. I will have a poncho and I'll probably be grumpy about the fact that I'm getting wet. So that's the problem here for me, is that I'm like, I like Art the Clown as a character. I think he's really interesting and fun and a bad person. I mean, he's not a person. I'm not really sure what he is. He does bad things and he does gross things, but I think that like the whole like mime clown thing is really fun and interesting, but I'm just not sold on it because it's either going to be great but be like really gross and wet, or it's not going to live up to people's expectations. And I'm not really sure which one it is. And I'm not really excited about either of those things. It's as high as it is because I'm intrigued to see what they do with it. But I don't know. I just don't know. My number 6 is Galkin, Monsters of the North. I don't really know what to expect here. Like, I am not super familiar with like these types of monsters. I think that the general plan that they have for the house, where it's sort of kind of it builds as you go, and there's going to be something huge at the end, it sounds like that's really cool. So I'm pretty hype about that. I'm hype about the amount of AC that is likely to be in this house, but I don't really know what to expect. So it's just kind of middle of the road for me because there's just other things that I'm more excited about, that I know more about. My number 5 is WWE, so the Horrors of the Wyatt Six. I thought this would be number 10 when I first heard about it. I was like, I don't care about WWE. This is not my interest. And honestly, if it was like, I say Undertaker because that's the only wrestler I can even really name for you right now. If it was like an Undertaker house or like a general WWE like greatest hits house, it would probably be at number 10. Sorry to the WWE fans. It's just not my jam. However, I have been slowly learning about the like Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt Six like lore and creation, and I mean, I'm thinking of it more like an original house, you know? I'm going to try to watch some of the videos and maybe even the documentary, at least by the end of the run. I would like to watch the documentary and then go in the house again. But, I mean, there are some really creative minds behind these characters and this story. And not to mention, I feel like with the amount of love that was poured into this from the Orlando team specifically, I can't put it below my top 5, because if they love something that much, they're going to put their all into it. And I think that this was really a labor of love for the HHN Orlando team. So I have to put it at number 5. I don't know a ton about the characters, but I've seen their designs. They're very creepy. You know, I wish Bray Wyatt was here to see this and be involved with this, but man, what a tribute this is. And something that apparently he always wanted was to have like a haunted house. So yeah, I mean, it's my number 5. I think it's really cool. I think it has the potential to be higher, to be honest with you, and I'm really excited to see it. My number 4 is Five Nights at Freddy's. This is the IP that is the highest for me. It has gone around, so, you know, that was where it ended up, was my number 4. And I think it's going to be cool. I don't know how scary it's going to be. I do think it has the potential to be scary, though, because you're in like a haunted Chuck E. Cheese with these giant animatronics and puppets, and I think it's going to be mostly like those figures, and they're made by Jim Henson's Creature Shop. So to me, I think it's going to be incredible. They look stunning from what we've seen. I think there's a lot of potential for really cool stuff. I mean, seeing Freddy and the gang perform on like a stage, we have gotten hints that that will happen. That's awesome. It's got to smell like pizza at some point, right? Like, it's Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. And I mean, the games are scary. I've played the first 1 or 2, and I did get scared. I've watched a lot of playthroughs of the other games, so I'm familiar roughly with the lore, and I think it's fun. You know, I'm not like a hardcore fan or anything like that, but I think it's an overdue concept. It is based on the movie, which I don't love, but I don't think that's going to matter as far as a house. I think that it just has more to do with the IP they're associating with, which is Blumhouse, that they have a great relationship with. I think it's best case scenario Blumhouse house that we could have gotten this year. And I think it's going to look amazing. So if nothing else, I think that the puppets and everything, the animatronics are going to be absolutely stunning. So how can you not be excited about that? My number 3 and my 1 through 3 have stayed consistent ever since the houses were announced. These have not moved. So I'm pretty excited about these 3 in particular. My number 3 is Doll's Let's Play Dead. So I never got to do Dollhouse of the Damned, but I did get to do some houses at like Howl-O-Scream Tampa back when I was younger. I think it was Nightshade Toys, and they did a couple iterations of that since they do repeat houses over there, but sometimes they'll revamp them in a different way. And it was one of my favorite houses there of all time, and it still is. So I love like the creepy doll sort of thing. And man, from the recent t-shirt they had with the designs for the original houses, holy moly, she looks terrifying, and she's going to be huge. We're shrunk down to doll size. So I'm super excited about seeing this perspective. I actually really want to book a Unmasking the Horror tour that includes that house, because I think the perspective of being the size of a doll and having gigantic, you know, probably eyes and maybe hands coming at us, and I think she looks so creepy. I hope we get to see her at the HHM bar, because her design is really, really cool and special. I think that house is going to be incredible. I mean, Chucky, we don't talk about the house, but the character, he's my favorite slasher. So, like, I love a doll. I love a creepy, messed up looking doll. Very Sid vibes from Toy Story. Very just creepy kids. I mean, kids when kids are creepy, it's spooky. So I'm super excited about this one. I think it's gonna be gross and awesome and campy. I hope it's kind of funny. I hope it's scary. I'm excited. My number 2, oh, this could have been my number 1 if my number 1 didn't exist this year. And that is Hatchet and Chains Demon Bounty Hunters. Man, this was my favorite room in Slaughter Cinema 2. I had been telling everyone I absolutely loved the Hatchet and Chains room. I was like, this scene is underrated. It's so fun. They've got the big demon like on a chain. They've got, you know, it's just so fun. And I'm so excited that they're going to develop that and give it a new story where they're fighting lava demons that crawl into people's like bodies and like come out of them. That is also on the art for that t-shirt that I was talking about. And it looks insane. I think this, like, it's a Western. That's so fun. And it's a Western with like a demon who hunts demons. And then another guy, like, it's just like, the lore is really interesting. They've released a really great article about the house. It does show some pictures inside the house, but I think it looks really cool and it sounds really cool. So I think it's going to be a rip-roaring time. I think it has the opportunity to be kind of scary as well, but I think it's going to be hilarious and fun and just, I think I'm going to have a smile on my face the whole time I'm in that house. So I'm super hyped for it. But my number 1, it is El Artista, A Spanish Haunting. It's a haunted house. They don't do that very often. Like, they have literally said that's not something they normally do, but oh my goodness, it's gonna have 3 facades. It sounds stunning. It sounds like a perfect house. It's about an artist who is going insane and there's ghosts and the ghosts are gonna take on the paintings, it sounds like. Of course, there's going to be Pepper's ghost effects, my beloved, and I think it's going to be beautiful. I think the atmosphere is going to be insane. I think it's going to be scary. Like, to me, I could see this one being the scariest house for me personally, because there's going to be like things popping out of paintings probably and like attacking you. And I've heard people compare it to Museum, and I don't think that's a fair comparison. I think nobody is ready for what is inside this sure to be stunning house. The team that's working on this has made some of the most beautiful houses I've ever seen. I just couldn't be more excited for El Artista. I think it's going to be incredible. I love that it's right up front where all that theming is for the conservatory. Oh, I have so many beautiful things to say about this house that I couldn't even fit into this video. I've never been probably more hyped for a house, to be quite honest with you, than I am for this one. Because I love a haunted house, and this is a truly haunted house. There's going to be ghosts and art and crazy people, and it's just going to be stunning, and I can't wait. I'm so excited to do Unmasking the Horror for this and really take in all of the details. I will be nerding out completely. All right, so let's talk about zones. There's 4 scare zones this year, so there's generally 5. They have taken away a zone, but it looks like they've really amped up the 4 that they have in major ways. I mean, they're definitely listening to feedback, which is always a good thing. So that's exciting. Plus, we have the street experiences. So to me, I don't feel like we're losing anything by having 4 zones. I think we're actually gaining a lot. And they sound like great zones. So my number 4 is Origins of Horror, which is going to be the entrance zone. And honestly, it's primarily because it's an entrance zone. I think that if they announced they were having, like, I don't know what they would call it, but some sort of like goth conservatory zone in a different area, that it maybe would have ranked a little bit higher for me. But because it's an entrance zone, I just have my reservations. There have been cool entrance zones in the past. Like, I really loved Anarcade. I thought it was incredible. There's also been some that were not so great. In fact, some, like last year, that you could hardly even call a zone. I think that it looks incredible. I think that I have really high hopes for it as an entrance zone. Will it be able to beat the other 3, which sound really incredible as well? Probably not, but we'll have to see what they have to offer. I'm super excited about it. I think it's beautiful. I love the theming that they have for this year. And it's obviously got the big Halloween Horror Nights neon sign. So what more could I ask for there? But my number 3 is Mutations Toxic 20s. I think that zone sounds really cool. I think it's gonna be gross. So if you haven't seen, there's t-shirts in the parks. They have artwork from all of the zones, and it looks gross. Like they look mutated, that's for sure. But I think the 20s theme, I mean, not that I'm opposed to it being gross, but like, you know, that's not normally what I look for in a zone. I'm not opposed to it being gross. You know, there's a time and place for that. But I think it's gonna be nasty, so get ready for that. I love all the neon green. You know, Bug House was actually, don't come for me, not one of my favorite houses. However, I think the creativity and the lore that it spawned is really, really cool and impressive, and it's always nice to see those callbacks to other houses and other HHN lore. So I'm stoked about that. And I loved when they did that in Slaughter Cinema 2 with the undead clowns that had the, you know, the BuzzCon goo dripping, and it's spelled differently than it was in the house. And so this is kind of like a prequel, and maybe this is an incident that they're trying to sweep under the rug, is sort of the rumor. I'm all for the lore that we're gonna get in this area. I think the 20s vibes will be really fun. The music could be fun. We're gonna have like gangsters running around, maybe like some mutated flappers. I think it'd be pretty cool. So, oh, and there's stuff in Sting Alley. Like, we love when there's stuff in Sting Alley. So yeah, I'm excited for this one, and I think there's other years where this could be like 2 or 1 on my hype list, but this 1 and 2 were so made for me. In fact, to the point where my number 2, which I'll transition into now, it was, I believe, the first Scare Zone to be announced, and I truly thought it was going to be my number 1. Like, I was like, this is so Kelley coded, this is me. And that's Masquerade Dance with Death. 2 years ago, I believe. My favorite house was Universal Monsters Unmasked. That is my favorite Universal Monsters house so far. I had the most fun in Unmasked. So, of course, anything that has to do with Masquerade gives Phantom of the Opera vibes, you know, I am here for it. And there's also vampires. Some of my favorite zones of all time were vampire-themed zones. So Masquerade, I think it's going to be stunning. The set pieces in there so far are gorgeous. I think it's going to be a vibe. I think it's going to be a party. I think it's going to be absolutely beautiful. I'm so excited to see the costumes and the characterization and what they do with that zone. But man, this number 1 is Cat Lady of Crooked Lane. I remember doing the Unmasking the Horror tour last year and seeing that poster and thinking, wow, I really wish that were a house. Well, we're getting a zone, and it looks like it could truly be my favorite zone of all time at this point. I mean, that zone a lot of times for me becomes overcrowded, and they don't hype it up, you know, as they don't do as much in there as I wish they did. Evidenced last year, by the way. It's a hit or miss for me, I would say. It's either one of my favorite zones of all time, which there's several in that area that have been, or it's one of my least favorites. And this year, they are extending it. They have like a little mini gauntlet area. They have a huge house that is like the Cat Lady's house. Like everything about this zone, every day there's been something new added to it recently. It is just gorgeous. There's callbacks to other houses and zones. There's pumpkins in the trees. Like, have we not gotten hype enough about that? There's pumpkins in the trees. It's gonna be so gorgeous once they light them up during the event. I miss them so much. It's beautiful already with no scare actors in it. So when there's show lights and scare actors and they're really going above and beyond in there, I think it's going to be scary. I think it's going to be gorgeous. I think it's going to be a really fun and hilarious time. I have no doubts that I'm going to love this zone. And in fact, if I don't love it, then I'm going to be incredibly disappointed, because this is one of the things I'm most hype about in general at this event. So I've got my cat shirt ready for day 1 of this event, and I'm stoked. But let's get to the experiences. So there are 2 official street experiences that were announced. There are a couple of sort of unofficial street experiences, if you will, that I'll touch on quickly before I rank those 2. But one of them is that chainsaw hordes are supposed to be back. We actually have some construction up at the time of recording this that shows that maybe it'll be in like the Simpsons area, or maybe they'll roam around. I don't love chainsaws. It's not a fear thing. I think they're very loud and stinky. So they're not like my favorite. They don't usually add a ton to me, but the more scare actors and more scary experiences we have, I think the better. So that is definitely a plus. The other thing that was announced was an Art the Clown wandering experience, if you will. So there's going to be a ton of Art the Clowns, or at least that's the way they have phrased it, and that he could be anywhere. So, I mean, he could be sitting next to you like this at the Minion Cafe. He could be at a store. He could be in a queue for a ride. He could quite literally be anywhere. I mean, I hope he's not in the bathrooms, but other than that, it sounds like it's fair game. So, I mean, that is pretty unique and interesting. It sort of reminds me of like Jack the Clown, who is the superior clown, sorry Art, wandering around on a golf cart a couple years ago, and I had some really fun and special experiences with that. So I think it definitely leads to, you know, some opportunities maybe for some personalized and unique scares that other people aren't going to get. So I think it's really cool. We'll see how it turns out in practice, but I'm all for them having, you know, unique ideas and things like that. As far as shows, we have interesting information here that there's gonna be 2. Did y'all hear that? There's gonna be 2 freaking shows. That's crazy. I'm so excited. I have actually never seen a Lagoon show at Halloween Horror Nights before. I've seen videos of Ghoulish, and I'm incredibly jealous of everyone who got to experience that. So I'm stoked. But let's talk about my number 2 first, which is Nightmare Fuel. For me personally, and this is not at all anything about I think that the dancers are incredible. I think that the people in the show and that put on the show do an amazing job. It's an overwhelming experience to be sitting. It's very overstimulating to sit in that theater. If you are someone who can sit there and just be relaxed, I am so jealous of you. But you're like touching other people and it's really loud and hot. You have to get there like at least 30 minutes early in order to get a spot. So the experience of Nightmare Fuel, besides the show itself, is not my favorite. And that does have something to do with where it is on this list. We've also had it for several years, so it does sometimes get a bit repetitive, at least for me personally. I am excited about the show direction though this year. They're changing it up, and I'm hoping they do something really different and interesting with it. I'm excited, and I think it'll be cool. It is circus themed this year, kind of like last year. So again, you know, I hope that it's something unique that really stands out, and that it's just not, oh, this is Nightmare Fuel from last year again. So I have hopes of that based on the new direction they're going in, but we'll see. It's at my number 2. We'll see where it ends up. My number 1 is Hauntophonic, A Ghoulish Tale. I think I got the name right there, but it's the Lagoon show. And if you've never seen Ghoulish, I highly recommend watching. There's some good YouTube videos of it. What a show, before it unfortunately was destroyed by a hurricane, if I'm remembering correctly. So I just wish that I really got to experience that in person, because it was absolutely beautiful. And I think from the name, I mean, Hauntophonic is a silly name, but I think that it's going to be very, very cool. And I think the theming is going to be very fun with that. So I hope that it has really cool music and very classic Halloween, or maybe I'm assuming it's going to be like Gothic conservatory vibes. So to fit the overall vibe of the event this year. And I'm here for that. I think it's going to be really cool. So yeah, I'm stoked that we get a Lagoon show back. I think that will be less overstimulating to watch as well, because you are standing in your own space. I mean, there might be a lot of people, but there's a lot of options. You know, you can stand on the opposite side of the street and things like that if you need to, or you can view it from other areas. So anyway, those are personal things for me. I think they both sound great, and I'm really excited. So those are my thoughts. I am really excited. I'm super excited. My number 1 zone and house are some of the most excited I've ever been for Halloween Horror Nights, just in general. So I can't wait for that. I can't wait to be with my friends, my co-hosts, everyone that I enjoy spending the season with very, very soon. Especially by the time you hear this, I might already be in Orlando, like, ready to go. So yeah, I'm hyped, baby. I'm hyped. It's gonna be a great year. So I want to know what you're hyped for. Let us know, and I'll see you in the vlog.